¿Qué pasó, mi gente? Smart Tip 25 otra vez y bienvenidos a un otro episodio del Chuco Sportscast, episodio 18. Yo soy Mark Tenorio, Mark Tip 25, y este es mi hermano Mario. ¿Qué pasó, Mario?
Más, bro. Todo tranquilo, bro. It's all good.
Todo tranquilo. Qué bueno, güey. But here's the thing, y'all. I know I made that introduction in Spanish. For all of you that don't understand what I just said, hello, I'm Mark Tip 25. Welcome to another episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
But anyhow, here's the thing. I know, because it's like I do that and I forget. Yeah, some of the people that watch this shit don't speak Spanish. But I'm trying to like incorporate more Spanish speaking, fans into this. And hopefully later on down the line I can improve my stuff to do like soccer and all that stuff. Football. In mi opinión se llama football, but for other people it's soccer. So
It is
whatever.
football.
Yeah, but here's the
Yeah,
thing.
it's football.
Yeah, I mean in the future I hope to incorporate that. But right now, what I kind of want to talk about today, I want to talk about a few things. The Mavericks' current struggles, talk about how the UTEP teams are doing. And I kind of want to just bring to light a player that I didn't realize was playing for. And see, I'm trying to get into the WNBA as well to try, get back on track as far as like branching out to those area teams because I like El Paso teams and I like Dallas teams. And I would always like to, incorporate more stuff. And I feel the WNBA always gets a bad rap. So hopefully I can incorporate more of their stuff in the future because I think they really deserve some recognition more than what people are giving them. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. But what I kind of want to start off with is the current like situation with the Dallas Mavericks. They've been kind of struggling as of late, but let's kind of just see what's going on. So as we can see right here, this is the Mavericks schedule right now. So within they were with since their last postponed game. Sorry, it was a little bit of a tongue twister there. Since their last postponed game, they won against the Hornets. They lost against the Bucks. They had a couple losses against the Bulls, Raptors. Had a win against the Pacers. One against the Spurs, and I think that was our last podcast that we did. We were talking about the Spurs game. And then they lost to the Rockets by a pretty embarrassing fashion. Lost to the Nuggets. I mean, the Nuggets are not a bad team. So I'm not going to like sit here and say that, you know, that they should have won because I mean the Nuggets are the Nuggets, even though they themselves have been struggling. I wasn't expecting the Mavericks to like come out and I mean they lost by a small margin, so it wasn't a big deal. But the thing that is now becoming a big deal is the last two losses that they've had, like the way they've lost. They lost against the Jazz twice in a row, and both of those being without Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell kind of just put them on. I mean, kind of has been out a bit, and Jordan Clarkson has been putting him on skates, and it's crazy because he's coming off the bench doing that. Rudy Gobert has been kind of feasting in. Joe Ingles was, I think the first game he was kind of going off. The second game, I can't remember so much if he did or not. But yeah, overall, the Mavericks have lost quite a few games as of late. I think that was like 7 of 8 games they've lost. So, no, sorry, I shouldn't say. No, it was not 7 of 8. It was like one, two, three, four. So I guess like 7 of 9 is what I should have said. So I mean, here's the thing: like the Mavericks, I think the fans kind of overhyped them, and even the Mavericks sports media kind of overhyped them. Like I'm not going to sit here and say they're the worst team, but they're definitely not what we had expected coming into the season. And I agree. I mean, I will admit that I was kind of swayed by that. So that's kind of also my fault for kind of believing that. But it is what it is. I hope the Mavericks can bounce back because if not, it's really going to be tough. And as of late, I just don't know what moves they have to make if they continue to slide like this, or if they even can make moves. Because at this point, who are you going to get for the pool of players that you have? I was actually speaking with a guy on LockerRoom the other day, and he kind of told me the situation about the Mavericks. Kind of put things into a lot of perspective for me. And it also kind of made me think of the conversation I had on LockerRoom with YouTuber B Souls, like, as I kind of gave my take on the superstars and all that stuff. Like, I had Luca, and I know people are going to be pissed off at me for this, but it is what it is. I kind of put Luca as an all-star. But considering all that has happened as of late and just how he's been playing like on an individual level, yeah, I'm wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. He is a superstar. He just doesn't have the pieces around him to make the wins happen. It was kind of the same situation with Trey Young last year. And now Trey Young is reaping the benefits of the players he has on his team. So yeah, I'm gonna change my thoughts on Luca being an all-star. He's coming into this league swinging, but I wanted a little bit more. But you know what? I think I my expectations were set even higher, and I don't think that's very fair. So yeah, Luca is a superstar. But also just yeah, the whole thing about where the assets, who do you trade? Like Dwight Powell is not really that savory of a contract. Tim Hardaway Jr. might be like besides KP, Tim Hardaway Jr. might even be the best option they have as a trade asset, and even then, he's not enough. You'd have to get rid of a lot of picks, but then you're kind of giving away your future at that point. So, and even then, I don't think they. And then there was Jimmy Crowther. He runs his All Things Mavs podcast. He kind of touched upon this a little bit. That we can't tank. Like we're kind of in a bad limbo here. We can't tank because we don't have a first round pick. We don't even have a good enough pick in this draft, upcoming draft. So it's like it's pointless to really tank at this point. So you kind of just have to tough it out. Like I don't think the Mavericks have enough pieces to get a Bradley Beal or a Zach LaVine or anything of that nature. So it's just I don't know. At this point, you either get somebody who's serviceable enough and you run with that, or you just keep your pieces for now and try to tough the rest of the season out and see what becomes of it. And I know I've said this a lot in the past, and I've tried to like be a little bit more open-minded about Rick Carlisle, and I'm still trying, but I just feel the more and more time that passes, the more I lose a little bit more faith in him. And granted, yeah, the pieces he has right now are not. I don't think they're that good. In all honesty, they haven't been good enough and haven't been consistent on the floor enough. So yeah, it's a little hard to really blame Rick, but he should still take some of the blame for this. There's still some blame to be placed upon him for his rotations and just how he does things. I don't know. Like I'm not saying he's a horrible coach, but I just think his time it's becoming more and more limited the more things happen. And I don't know. I feel if the Mavericks slip any further and they just completely are out of the playoffs, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it does, I you might have to evaluate your future with Rick Carlisle. That's just me. But then the question becomes who do you replace him with? And that's just something that's going to have to be weighed within the offseason. Um, I mean, I think they're probably going to give him another chance because I mean, considering the constraints and the situation at hand, it's hard to really like, you really can't put too much blame on Rick Carlisle. So I don't know. That's just my perspective on that. So what do you personally think, Mario?
Yeah, I can see your point where he's been the head coach for the Dallas Mavericks for 13 years since 2008, and so far in that time they've been able to win one championship, which I guess for some that's not saying much. Which yeah, I guess he needs to figure something out to where he can get this team going to where he can make it another championship run because yeah, it may get to a point where his days are numbered and Mark Cuban's like, okay, I had enough. I have to find someone else. I don't know, man. I mean, but yes, also a lot of it falls on the players. If they're not willing to come together, bring the locker room chemistry up, regardless of whatever problems they may have with each other or whatever the case, then it's not going to work. if this is all, if you can't get any better pieces with what you got, then you're gonna have to. Then it should be on the players to force themselves. Look, this is what we got. This is what we have to work with. Let's make it work. And I think it's also with that mentality, that winning mentality doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Luka himself,
Losing streak,
yeah.
and it's just it doesn't look good. You guys got to get it together, bro. I know they can do it. We've seen it, so I pray that they do, because it doesn't get any easier. Phoenix is very strong, as you can see the next two games. You got Atlanta; they seem to be okay, but then you got Golden State, who's no pushover either. So come on, it's hard to find the correct answer for this, but like I said, you can only blame Rick so much. Yes, he's the coach, and he's trying to guide his players the best way he can. But it mainly falls on the players, because they're the ones that are executing the plan, and maybe they're just poorly executing the plan right now. As I always said, right? We were always told it's all about execution of your game plan in any sport, and it will win determines if one team or the other out executed or overperformed their execution. That's what determines the win. We were always told that it's about execution. So they got to find a better way to execute to be successful. So
Yeah, I get you, man. It kind of sucks because I think a lot there's a lot of weight put on Luca, and it sucks for him because he's trying, he's doing everything he can. You can see it, but KP, I don't know if it's again something that's mental, that like, hey, I'm still kind of favoring the knee. I'm not feeling entirely confident because the last game I don't think he played all that well. He kind of was not being aggressive enough, and hopefully that changes because they're going to need him. KP is a key to this. They're going to need him to perform better, to take at least some pressure off of Luca. It's not going to be the end all be all cure, but it's going to be something. And again, it's just whether you get a good enough piece, like a defensive piece that's also a decent passer to put alongside them. But again, I don't think they're even going to have the assets to trade for somebody at this point in time, considering the way they're playing. But I just hope they can get it together because it just seems like they're taking a bit of a dive here. Um, but yeah, I
yeah,
it's just hard. It's just hard seeing this team struggle, especially because I mean we could say,
they're
oh well,
18 games
earlier,
into the season, and
yeah, because earlier in the year they beat the Clippers by a huge margin, and you thought, well, this is a pretty good team, but now I think we might have overestimated them, and that it is what it is. I just hope that they can pull it together because I think I was about to say, Luca actually even kind of called his team out on to the media, not like called out in a bad way, but it's just like, no, we're not playing to win. We need to get better. Like we gotta want this. I can't remember the exact quote, but I know that he was very adamant. Like, no, we need to be better than this because we all should want this. And I think with Luca kind of setting that tone, kind of calling them out in that regard, I think that's going to help push them a little bit to kind of at least get in the right mindset. Hopefully, we'll have to see what happens tonight because they play Phoenix, and Phoenix. I mean, they've been a little off as of late, but not by much. They're still a good team. Chris Paul is an amazing guard, and Devin Booker's good. DeAndre Ayton has really come into his own now. Um, it's just, yeah, I hope the best for them. But the thing is, like, another thing that Jimmy Crowther did on his recent podcast is kind of like give an overreaction and an underreaction to like a lot of fans' takes on the Mavs. And I don't think it's entirely an overreaction. Like, granted, yes, it kind of is, but I don't think it entirely is an overreaction to be angry with Rick. I don't think so. because again, he has been here for quite a while. And I'm not saying that's because he's a bad coach or anything, but it's just like, at what point do you have to look at yourself in the mirror and think, we need a different identity. We need a culture change. We need to shock something into this team, because what is happening right now is just not working. And again, it's still early, and I hope later on that they find their way. But if it comes to the point where they're still struggling or they don't even make the playoffs, you're really going to have to evaluate this. Like, on a serious level, you're really going to have to evaluate this. But that's just what I think about the whole situation with the Mavericks. As far as other things, let's look at how UTEP's basketball teams are doing. I always like to talk about my minors, and hopefully we get more stuff on the minors here on the podcast, and also just stuff about like El Paso sports. I tried to see about the El Paso Chihuahuas to see if, like, when their season starts, just so I can have an idea of when to start covering stuff. And I'm also trying to, there's a guy I talked to on LockerRoom that is trying to help me get back into the swing of things of baseball so I can understand and learn it again. Because I understand some basics, but like, I just understanding the statistics and knowing what is a solid player versus a player that's not so solid. Because I can basically understand from a basketball standpoint what's solid and what's not. But for baseball, it's still, it's been a while. So I hope to get back to that. But as far as the minors currently, they're currently 7-8, and they're about to play the Road Runners for UTSA. Last year they played really well. Oh no, wait, they already played them. Okay, so they lost the first game against them, but it's not a bad deal. It seems like the Mavericks are. I mean, the Mavericks, the Miners. I've been talking too much about the Mavericks. The Miners have been splitting their games throughout the season, and it's not a bad thing entirely to be 500. I don't know. I see a lot of potential in the players we've mentioned in the past few podcasts, and gosh, I almost said it again. The Miners, the UTEP Miners, can only go up from here, and I think hopefully next season they can get some decent pieces together. I don't know if Williams is gonna play another year or if he's gonna declare for the draft, or I don't know. I think he's good enough to make the NBA, but I don't know if that's his plan yet. We'll see. But Sulibaum is really good, and there's a few other players there that I think are really good pieces.
Yeah.
Because I think, let's see, let's just kind of look at the last game. So the Miners 79-86. I mean, not a bad loss really, but could improve a little bit more. So we got Bryson Williams with 24 points, and Verhoeven with so my bad, Titus Verhaven. I hope I pronounced that correctly. With 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Hold on, something's a little bit amiss with this here. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes my computer acts up a little bit when I'm trying to scroll and shit. I mean, if you're listening via the Apple Podcasts and the Spotify, you're not really gonna see this shit. You're only gonna hear it. But as far as, yeah, I don't know why these lists don't tend to work as well. I'm trying to press down. But yeah, overall, I'll just say this: the Miners have been playing pretty decent. They haven't been bad. They can they can only go up from there. They're kind of still like kind of middle pack, but they have been better than I had anticipated throughout the season. So I'm glad for that. Um, and then as far as the women's team, let's go to the women's team, and I'll see if I could go back to the men's team if the menu will allow me to actually freaking move the thing. So, oh no, that's still men's. Wait, I thought I pressed women's. Oh man, I'm already fucking up on this here podcast. Oh man.
What I
Okay.
like about the back-to-back games, playing the same team one night and then again the next night, I think it's a good way to see what can change between your opponent from one night to another, um, especially when it's back to back. I don't, you know, in the pros in the NBA they do that a lot. Sometimes they'll go what back to back games against the same team, but you don't see that very often in the NCAA. So I think this is cool because, like I said, a lot can happen. Like maybe a few weeks down the road, I think it's also very helpful to know what can change in a matter of 24 hours against that same team, to where you know either you beat them or you lose against them.
Yeah, I mean it's back and forth. I mean it is what it is, man. But okay, so the women's team has won both of their games against UTSA. They're 10-5, I saw. So that's a really good, you know, really good, little stretch there. And this past game that they played, you got Katia Gallegos. She scored 10 points, 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Good for her. 2 of 6 from three. Isis Lopez got 10 points. Uh, Sabine Lipe got 14 points. Thurman Destiny and Michelle Pruitt, sorry, Destiny Thurman and Michelle Pruitt got 7 points each. So yeah, I mean this is a pretty decent squad. I mean, as far as overall percentages, they were struggling a little bit, but they got better within the second. Like that first quarter, they struggled. They were like really bad on the offense, like with 28%, 25% from three, and then boom, they just shot up. Their percentages went up really quickly after that. So at least this women's team can actually, you know, make adjustments. The coach can make really good adjustments. So that's a very positive thing to have happen. So then let me do something here real quick. Let me close this and let me do the same thing for the men's team. I might have to just go to their actual website from now on because it's just not letting me do it on that page for some reason. It just decides, "Oh, I'm not going to scroll down for you," which is I think a little stupid, but it is what it is.
Yeah, when in doubt, just go to the athletics page. Usually, I'll have everything right there for you.
Yeah, so then schedule. Is there a way I can see results? Oh my goodness, why are you acting like this? Why? No. Oh goodness.
Just
Experiencing technical
go to
difficulties. Okay, well that's neither here nor there.
go to
Overall, the UTEP team has been pretty good. We can only expect improvement here on out. But one important thing I wanted to talk about was Kayla Thornton. She is a former UTEP minor player, and I did not know this. She is currently on the Dallas Wings. So she's on a Dallas team, a UTEP player on a Dallas team. That is the dream for me. I always want UTEP players to play for Dallas teams, like the Cowboys, the Mavericks, the Wings, the whatever, you name it. I want El Paso players playing on Dallas teams. That's just my dream. Doesn't always happen, but it is what it is. But we got somebody on a Dallas team. We got Kayla Thornton. And she was really good when she played for UTEP. Like I remember watching some of her games, and she was amazing. And right now, as far as where she is right now, she's at least a starter. Seemingly, this is basketball reference. She's at least a number 5 player on the team, and she's putting in some decent minutes. 7.3 points a game, zero point 0.9 steals, what is it? 0.8 assists. I mean, she's putting in some minutes. And last year she was starting off a little bit better. And again, I think the current WNBA season recently just started, so we can't really put too much stock in this right now. But it's I'm so glad to see a UTEP player on a WNBA team. It makes me happy. And then as far as yeah, she's 6'1". Wow, I didn't realize she was that tall. But yeah, I mean, because as you can see right here, I don't know why it's kind of blanked out or kind of blacked out here. It's a little dark. But yeah, if you can see this, it shows that yeah, last season she was putting up 0.4 points a game on, let's see, on 34.3% field goal percentage, 27.2 from three, with really high free throw percentage. Pretty decent statistics overall. And again, since the game barely started, I think it's been 22 games, and I don't know how long a season is um, for the WNBA, but she's been off to a pretty decent start. I mean, she can only improve, and I'm glad that she's a huge part of this team. So there's at least that. And then, yeah, but again, that's just my whole thing. As far as this Dallas Wings team, just because I want to talk about them, because again, I think I should talk a little bit more about WNBA stuff more. So we have our high point leader with, and I so apologize if I mispronounce this name. I try my best to pronounce names properly, but as you can see, it's a little hard sometimes. Arike Agunboale. Agunboale. Arike Agunboale is the high point person with 22.8 points, 3.5 assists, 1.6 steals. Wow, that's pretty decent. 85% from free throw, 33.6% from 3-point range, 41.3% field goal percentage. That's not bad at all. That's a really good player. Sato Sabali with 13.9 points, 2.5 assists, on, I guess, not so good from 3-point range, but it's still okay. Again, as far as WNBA standards, I still have to kind of see what's average for a WNBA player. But overall, not bad. And then 36.8% field goal percentage. She could be a little bit more efficient, hopefully, down the line. I don't know what year she's in, but we'll see. And again, guys, I hope to get more involved. So if you're a WNBA fan, and if you feel like I'm being ignorant, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be better. So Alicia Gray with 13.1 points, pretty good field goal percentage. On, let's see, and she gets pretty good minutes. 26 minutes is not bad. On 35.2% from 3-point range, that's really good. And then yeah, you have Marina Mabry with 10 points. Let's see. Yeah, 4.18% from field goal, 3-point range, and 43% field goal percentage. And then, of course, we just covered Kayla Horton. And again, I hope to cover this team a little bit more. And I'm so glad we have a UTEP player on this team. It makes my heart happy because I've always loved El Paso. I've always loved UTEP. And I just hope that I see more success. And speaking of which, like, we've talked about Aaron Jones here on the podcast. Kind of a tough break for him when it came to the playoffs. I was hoping that the Packers would win, but it was kind of evident that the Buccaneers were pretty much having the upper hand on that. That team is an extremely talented team. But I hope nothing but the best for Aaron Jones in the future. And I hope, as much as I don't like the Packers, it would be nice to see him win a Super Bowl. It would be amazing. But yeah, that's as far as like UTEP stuff and even Dallas Stars stuff. Let's kind of talk about one last thing. A few days ago was the anniversary of a very tragic event. It was the death of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi. And it's still crazy a year later to think that, man, this guy's gone. And I didn't want to post anything the day of because I don't know. I really didn't know what to say, and I didn't want to put like say anything and then it sound like I'm just trying to capitalize off of something, because that's never my intention. I Look, when he was playing, I respected him as a player. I didn't like his personality personally, but that was just me. However, I will say this. Kobe was one of the players that kind of got me involved in basketball. Because, I mean, I saw a little bit of Jordan, but I was still kind of young. Like, I was still pretty young to really focus on the NBA at that time. But then I remember watching part of the finals with our cousins in California. We watched, it was the Pistons versus the Lakers in the finals. I remember that. And I was kind of rooting for Kobe. I was rooting for Kobe because again, I it was just kind of cool. He was, really athletic, just a dog, a guy that had no quit in him. And it kind of was sad to see that he lost that finals. And then later on, I realized, there's a Dallas team, the Mavericks, and I got more involved in basketball through them, like more so. But Kobe definitely was a player that got me more interested, at least enough interest to watch it more. Like I love Jordan. When I watched Space Jam, I was like, oh yeah, like he's a great basketball player. And I know all of you are gonna be like, Space Jam was garbage, but it's not. It's neither here nor there. Like Jordan was amazing, but again, like I said, I don't think I was involved enough to really cover it. I mean, as much as I liked Jordan, I just wasn't involved enough. I mean, later on, I watched more clips and footage and kind of researched a little bit more into him and realized, man, this guy's just amazing. But Kobe definitely was one to really open my eyes to it more. And it's just sad. It's just sad that he is gone. Like it's been a year and it still doesn't feel quite right, you know? Um, it's just one of those things that most people they sit there and think about like and I hope this doesn't sound insensitive. Of all the players I would not have expected to die, like he's definitely one of them. Like if anything, I was expecting Bill Russell to pass away because he's so old. And it is and I hope again, please do not take that the wrong way. I respect all of these players that have come in the past. But it's just so crazy how that occurred. He was in a helicopter crash, and I really didn't know like wow, what was he doing in a helicopter? I didn't realize he flew helicopters. But apparently, this is what I heard. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he doesn't like driving in the city. Apparently he had a lot of anxiety, so he preferred to take helicopters to games. If I'm not mistaken, that's what I remember hearing. And that's a very interesting thing, and it was just such a sad thing for that to have occurred, and even more so, more just just depressing that his daughter was also within that, and I was recently talking about just WNBA stuff. He was very much an advocate for them, and his daughter Gigi was really like on the come up, really playing hard and showing a lot of potential, and possibly could have been somebody that would have been really good in the WNBA down the line. And then that just kind of died out, and it's sad to see. But you know, Kobe left a very everlasting legacy on most people throughout the world. So even if you were not a huge fan of him or didn't really like him that much, he still was very influential in a lot of ways. I just it was just very it's still mind-boggling to me. Like it's really hard to find the words that Kobe is no longer here. And to his family, I I hope you find peace, and I hope nothing but the best for you all. And may his memory ever be long lasting. I mean, as of late, the Mavericks even retired the number 24 in his honor. So that was a very wonderful gesture from Mark Cuban. Um, but even though he is gone, his his memory, his legacy will never die. Everybody will always, attribute a hardworking mentality to what is called Mamba mentality. And I think that speaks for itself. You know, um, you will be forever missed, Kobe. Did you have any thoughts on that, Mario?
I mean, when I found out, I don't know if I was at work or at school when I got a notification on my phone saying about that. I was like, wait, what? And I read further. It's like, what? Of all people to die that way? No way. Thought it was true. And as much as I didn't care for Kobe since he was on a team that everybody despised for so many years because they would do really, really well. I mean, I always respected him as the player he was with his worth ethic and everything because he worked his ass off to get where he was. So, I can't take, no one can take that away from him. 5-time championship player, regardless of how he was in his personal life or what, but he helped change the game forever along with a lot of other people that started around the same time he did. So, you know, love him, hate him, whatever, you still got to respect the man for his accomplishments. So, I pray that
You might have to
he
repeat
forever
some of
rests in
that,
peace
dude.
along with his daughter.
Sorry, you might have to repeat some of that because some of it kind of cut out a bit. I'm sorry.
Well, like I said, I mean, love him or hate him, you still got to give him his respect, man, because he, along with other people that were drafted like him around that time, he helped change the game and made it what it is today, and helped influence a lot of younger players of our generation strive to be the best in the game. So it's, you still got to respect him, love him or hate him, doesn't matter. So I pray that he's that he will rest in peace along with his daughter, man. So yeah, I said I never cared for him because one, because of the team he was on, but I will respect him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, where I was actually in my room, just chilling with my wife, and I think I got a notification from I can't really remember if it was my buddy Eric or my buddy Alex. It was one of them, but they were just like, "Man, it's crazy what happened to Kobe." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, "Did you hear that he's dead?" I'm like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean he's dead?" And then I looked on the news and Twitter. I'm like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me!" And like I saw like the smoke coming from the crash, and I'm like, "There's no fucking way. There's no way." And it blew me away because again, a lot of people saw him as a very Herculean figure. Um, Again, like I said, he would have been the exact last person that I would have thought would have ever died that soon. Last person, because he just seemed like so. As I said, Herculean. I don't know what else to say. He was godlike in a sense. For not to be controversial or disrespectful to people who have certain faiths, but I don't know how else to explain it. He was just an amazing player, an amazing human being. Y ese vato puede hablar en español también, especialmente porque estaban viviendo en Los Ángeles por muchos años. Like he lived in Los Angeles for so many years. He learned the language, and he was a very like intelligent human being. Like because he even won an Oscar for that little short film he did. Like if he puts his mind to something, when he put his mind to something, he accomplished a lot. He was very intelligent, very willing to learn, and I think that was the great thing about him. And I think that's what made him so legendary because he just was willing to soak up anything and everything to be better. And like as much as people disrespect him because oh well he's just a copy of Michael Jordan, I don't know, man. Like yes, he did have a lot of Jordan's moves, but if it was successful, it's successful. And he won 5 championships. And you could say what you want about Shaq carrying him, which again, hopefully by now we understand and we realize that that's not a fair assessment, especially when Kobe had to step in and carry the team when Shaq fouled out in that finals game against the Pacers. Like he carried that moment. He was just as important as Shaq was to those championships. Like bar none, he was very important. And then when he won two more championships, you know, he I don't know. There's really not much more you can say like that I can say that would do him any justice. You know, there's so many videos out there right now honoring his memory, and you should definitely go check all of those out as well. But that's just my what I wanted to say about Kobe. That we respect you. We're gonna miss you dearly for what you brought to the game and what you've brought to humanity in general. And yeah, I just wish his family the best.
Agreed.
But yeah, um, as far as that's concerned, we're pretty much close to the end of the video. I just want to make a few announcements. Again, Dom2K does this, you know, creator spotlight. I wanted to kind of highlight another friend of mine that's from El Paso because I always try to give back to my homies from El Paso. His name is TSS Sayan. To me, he's known as Luis Arcos. He is a current gamer and streamer. He's on Twitch and on YouTube, and I'll try to find his links to place within the description. He's a dear friend, and you all should look at his content. And once again, I'll also announce OG Sensei Oscar Gomez is another friend of mine. Please take a look at his content. Really great guy. Like both those guys, I've known them for quite a while, and they're really good people. And then as far as anything else, please follow me on LockerRoom. Hopefully soon I get to like create some rooms to just like have casual conversations about sports and other things. And hopefully I get to utilize it for our podcasts to like, answer some questions that you may have for me and Mario. Um, and also I need Mario to get on that too, because you need a network, my friend. Like honestly, it would do you so much good. I really think it would. But just let me know, and please, yeah, just get on it, bro. Get on it. But anyhow, those are my announcements. Did you have anything to say, Mario?
Um, Again, I apologize for not putting out content as of late. Things are about to get extremely busy for me, so I may have to uh, forego putting out any content right now because is going to be crazy in my last year of grad school. So bear with me. If I can find the time to do so, I will. But that may have to wait, maybe until after I graduate. So I will do my best, but I'm not giving any promises. But once I'm finally free from certain obligations, and my time has been freed up a little bit more, you'll definitely be seeing a lot more content from me. But until then, it's gonna be a while. So my apologies on that. But if you can, just please try to subscribe to my channel, my music channel. You'll definitely be seeing a lot more on that with the music projects I got going on for this coming year. And as always, please support this channel as well, my brother, and this podcast because it's coming along. It's come a long way since we started. So yeah, I would appreciate that.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for that, Mario. As far as oh shoot, one thing I forgot. I've actually speaking of Twitter, I actually upped my follower count to like 300 and some. Like I think it's 387 followers now. So that's actually really nice. And those follow trains really do wonders. So don't I'm not gonna lie and say it happened organically. That's far from the truth. But for the people that followed me, I want to thank you so much. That really means a lot to me that you are willing to just follow me off of the fly for no reason. You you could follow anybody else, but you chose to follow me. So that's wonderful. Thank you all for that. And hopefully that turnover follows into my channels, because that would really mean something, and that would really help me out a lot. So, like I always say, suscríbete a mi canal, which means subscribe to my channel. Ponte un like, please. Put a like. Y hasta luego. Hasta la próxima. Adiós, mi gente. Goodbye. Paz. Go Miners.
Adios.